Anyway, this is from chapter 1, right from the very beginning. Planning. Sometimes I drive the borders of my county and look for the end of the world. Sometimes I see it, or I think I do. But maybe what I see is myself, and that's enough to send me scurrying back the other way. I like to think I used to be braver, but maybe I didn't know any better. When I was young, all I wanted was out. I was pretty sure that the only reason I participated in sports was to do that, to go on those endless bus rides, even if it was just more of Wyoming, with maybe a little Montana and South Dakota mixed in. Along the way, with a little size, speed, muscle, and brains, I was able to land a spot as one of the top 10 teenage offensive linemen in the country. The University of Southern California took note and offered me a scholarship where we even won a Rose Bowl for the red and gold against Wisconsin, 42-37. I graduated, lost my deferment in doing so, and found myself wearing the khaki and olive drab of the United States Marine Corps. The Corps taught me a lot of things that college hadn't, like how to shine my shoes, say sir a lot, and take other people's lives. The biggest thing it did was put a star to my chest, something that remains there to this day. I am the sheriff, final letter of the law in Absaroka, the least populated county in Wyoming, the least populated state in America. Kind of a period, if you will, in the great sentence of justice. Right now, I was retrieving a basketball from dead frozen grass and tossing it back to an 18-year-old phenomenon. Luckily, I didn't have to do that very often because she didn't miss very often. Not my game. My words clouded the air between us as I threw the ball, and she caught it with long, nimble, artistic-looking fingers. Chicken shit. She turned and dribbled through her legs, then circled up to the top of the key where she half-turned and flipped up a three-pointer. All net. Or whatever net was left of the red, white, and blue nylon strands that had been faded by the sun, rain, and incessant wind of the high plains. The unraveled threads like a horse tail swishing at a fly. It was a fitting banner for the northern Cheyenne, a people ravaged by unemployment, alcoholism, drug abuse, domestic violence, inadequate health care, and substandard housing. I passed the ball back. So, got another note? She turned, dribbling to the baseline corner, and then flipped the ball up again. I watched its arc as it slipped through the net, the ball caressing the nylon with a swirling sound, like hope, and then bounced into the pock-marked asphalt before rolling to a stop near the ragged chain-link fence. Flipping the dark hair from her face, she stared at me with polished magnetite eyes. You don't answer my questions, I don't retrieve the ball. Her head kicked sideways in disgust, but I was unfazed. I've got a daughter. Yes. I walked over to the fence to get the ball and bounced it to her. Care to elaborate? She rolled it behind her back and then took a few quick dribbles before hoisting the ball skyward in a reverse layup. The momentum carried her toward me as she stopped and looked up. She's 6 feet tall and she doesn't like looking up at anyone in any way. But I'm taller than she is. No. I watched as she turned and retrieved the ball herself, dribbling towards the half-court line, painted on the asphalt, reminding me of the prints on the parking lot at Paris Island back when I'd first become a boy. She shot and it floated through, landing in my hands. You think your life's in danger? She waited for me to give her the ball. I am a young woman in modern America living on the res. My life is always in danger. I tossed her the ball. Can you be a little more specific? She circled the three-point line. It's where she earned the nickname Giant Longbow Long. The hands went up, the ball came down, 3 on the board. No. The suicide rate for native teenagers is 2.5 times greater than the national average. I tossed the ball. No enemies. She dribbled the key below the foul line and then pivoted, tipping the ball up with one hand in a reasonable impersonation of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's style of sky. I held the ball. An exaggerated sigh as her shoulders dropped. I'm in high school. I've got nothing but enemies. Native women are 3.5 times more likely to be raped or sexually assaulted than the national average. I tossed the ball. You want to tell me about Jeannie? There was a brief pause, a nanosecond where I think I might have pierced that stoic reserve. Jaya began dribbling again, punishing the asphalt as she stalked towards the top of the key and the half-court line. I waited for her to turn and shoot, but she didn't. She walked towards the double doors of the school with the ball under one arm, leaving me standing in an empty parking lot. Native women are 6 times more likely to be murdered. That went well. Glancing over my shoulder, I saw my faithful companion sitting in the passenger seat of my unit, his dog breath fogging the glass. I walked to the car, let the beast out, all 155 pounds of him. He stretched and then picked a lamppost a while before looking up, rubbing his muzzle on my jeans. Think you would have had more luck than me? There was a loud noise, and we both looked in time to see a decrepit 64 Buick Wildcat with the license plate 2Res4U, belching black smoke as it came around the corner of the building, with Jaya along at the wheel, not looking at either of us. She took the drive leading downhill from the school, her arm trailing out the open window, and then turned left towards the town of Lame Deer, Montana. I looked down at the dog who was sitting on my foot. Maybe not. She's an interesting character, and it's fun for me to have a character that goes through the kind of arc, that she goes through in this novel. The other part that's interesting for me is for Walt to see so much of himself in her, and remembering what he was like, whenever he was a high school hotshot athlete, and maybe the mistakes that he might